a short video on integrating Firebase authentication in Remix. Check the description for links to the source code and blog.
So this is a quick demo of what it would finally look like once we have integrated the styling, etc. So I have this login button, click on it, it opens up a login prompt and then it logs me in, renders my name here. So it is using Google authentication to do that. Tutorial on adding Firebase authentication into Remix app. We start off with a React component called Firebase login, and we will wrap all the Firebase related calls in this component, and this is not a pure component. And instead of using something like sign in with email and password, I'll be using Google authentication. So the documentation for this is over here, and if you look at it, this is quite self-explanatory. I'll walk you through as I copy paste the code here. So I am importing initialize app and other list of things. I'll also be using state to store the user state, and Firebase config. I have a file here, Firebase config, which holds my Firebase configuration, API key, project ID, etc. And then we initialize Firebase app here, and next up we get reference to Google Auth provider. This is what is going to, this is the crux of the thing. So we I'm creating a function. This is the primary function. This is Firebase function which actually authenticates Firebase user, and in this case it would be using Google Auth provider as the provider, which we are passing here. So this auth and provider we are passing here, and what we are saying is this is quite useless. We actually don't need to do this, but I'm just going to log it for purposes of watching what happens. Next up is logout button, and I'm using use state, and this is a listener or observer. Whenever the Firebase auth changes, Firebase would kick in this method. So what I'm doing here is we get reference to the authenticated user. We set it as a React state, and next we render the button. So in case user is not logged in, what we do is we pass, we say that if the user is not logged in, create a login button, and we invoke this login method that we have written here, which is again a wrapper. And next up, if the user is already logged in, what we do is display the name, username, and then give a logout button. So this pretty much finishes what we needed here, and then we include that reference in the index file. So if we go to the app right now, we don't, okay, let me start the server, npm run dev. So once we start the server, we can refresh this page. Not sure why I'm getting that error. And then let's include the button. And we have this login button. Right now I'm already logged in, so we log out. Okay. And let me open this in incognito window to give you a feel of what really is happening. So if I click on login button, it would show me this sign in. So you enter your username and password. All this is configured in your Firebase console. And let me close this. And once I log in, it opens that pop-up, logs me in, and gets my. So if you look at the result here, you will see all my details over here. So this pretty much finishes what I wanted to cover in this one.